seasons. The Philadelphia 76ers in third place in the Eastern Conference. They face a surging Minnesota Timberwolves team at 8 o'clock. Remember, you can catch that game on League Pass. Welcome to Game Time, presented by State Farm. Chris Miles here with NBA All-Star Smitty and six-time NBA Coach of the Month, Stan Van Gundy. I had to make sure I found the right stat for you, my friend, because all the time I'm just like, hey, Coach Stan Van, let's put some respect on the man's name. 10 games tonight, 4 tipping off as we speak. But the eyes all on the matchup of the night, Philly and Minnesota. James Harden making his debut for the 76ers. It's his third team, again, and as many years for the former MVP and current second-place assist leader in the NBA. The bearded one, well, he'll be well-rested. Last time we saw him play, you see it, the not-so highlights in front of you against the Sacramento Kings. But there he is, reuniting with Daryl Morey, his GM in Houston during his MVP season, of course, now at the helm in Philly. Harden comes to Philly. The 76ers, third in the East, just 3 games out of first place. 76ers Wolves tip off at 8. Here is Philly head coach Doc Rivers on his newest star taking the floor.
This is, James's first game. We've had one practice, I guess what I'll watch most is if we're moving the ball or we're in the right place defensively, if we're scoring. It's, again, this is, something we're just going to have to work out as we play, but it's basketball at the end of the day. And I just keep telling our guys yesterday and today, we don't need to overcomplicate this early on, at least. We need to just put guys in the right space and play. And if we do that, we'll be okay.
It's really interesting, Stan Van, because as a head coach, it's okay. You have your role. This is what you do. Andre Drummond and Seth Curry were great in their roles in Philadelphia. Now James Harden comes in. How long does it take for them to figure out where everyone belongs in the court, like Doc was talking about?
Yeah, I don't think that part will be that bad, Smitty. I think the issue is going to be that team has played through Joel Embiid all year. He has had his best year. The ball's in his hands all the time. And they traded for a guy who's a great player, but he's probably the most ball-dominant guard in the NBA right now, actually second on the year. Has the ball in his hands, think about this, over 9 minutes a game. So he plays 36, which means his team has the ball 18 minutes. He's got the ball in his hands half the time that his team has the ball. That doesn't seem to me that's going to be an easy fit with Joel Embiid.
Smitty, speak to that as far as, being a guy that could get you 20 a game. And if you're playing with a guy who's handling the ball that much, how much does that take you out of your rhythm?
It's a total different dynamic. Stan talked about it. I've been watching the Philadelphia 76ers this season, and I think they've had a lot of success. Didn't think they would win a championship because it's looking for what kind of piece they will put next to Joel Embiid after the trade. This is going to be more of a high pick-and-roll team now. I love when Joel Embiid is really not in a high pick-and-roll stand. Not that he's not talented, because it also takes away his dominance to me. If I'm checking Joel Embiid and he's past the top of the key, I have a chance. Joel Embiid is on the block, I have no chance. And for me, I'm old school because I always think great players should draw a double and make everybody else's life easier. And I just think if you pick and roll, you throw back to Joel Embiid. He makes a shot, misses a shot, he's talented. But if he's on that block and he has to draw a double, the offense flows. You can offensive rebound better. It gets the defense off balance. High pick and roll, I can switch and then take my chances at a 6'8" guy, him backing me in, taking some time. But I can't do that, Stan. If you put him down on that block, I'm going to call for help.
He's unstoppable down there. He's either going to score or get fouled, or you've got to bring the double team. Plus, Embiid's not great as a pick-and-roll guy. James Harden has really thrived when he's played with a guy who rolls and he can throw the lob. That's not how Joel Embiid goes. Now, we're talking about how those two fit together. The advantage to me they get with James Harden is one of them will always be on the court. And then so when Embiid is not in the game now, they have a guy they can ride in those minutes. So what they're going to have to figure out are the minutes they're on the floor together. But over the course of the game now, that second unit is going to function beautifully.
And I think to stand points, you signed Willie Cauley-Stein. That's a pick and lob guy.
Yes.
That's a guy that you can get some easy buckets. It's going to be interesting to get a chance to watch. I think you're missing a lot in Seth Curry. because he was not just a shooter. He was able to make some plays off the bounce. And I loved how Drummond was backing up Joel Embiid.
Now, you made a great point about Joel Embiid in the MVP conversation, if not one of the front runners. I look back at James Harden's career and I think, okay, other guys that were playing at that level when they played with James Harden and what happened and how it soured, whether you go, KD and Kyrie right now or Russell Westbrook 2 times, right? Chris Paul, all of those players in the past. Joel Embiid said this, it's completely different than what you see out there in James Harden coming in. So why will it be different with Joel Embiid than it has in the past with his other teammates?
I don't know. I don't know if it will. I mean, James Harden plays the way James Harden plays, and he's had success. You're not changing him very much at this point. Like, they've come down the court a lot, Philly, all year, and either given it to Embiid at the elbow where he's one dribble from getting to the rim or in the post. James Harden's going to throw the ball to the wing so they can throw it in the post. Like, I don't know. I've never seen him play like that, and I can't imagine Joel Embiid standing around watching James Harden dribble out an entire possession. I think it's a big, big coaching challenge for Doc Rivers. He's a great coach, but he's got his hands full on this one. It's not as easy as people think it's going to be.
What do you make of the narrative of James Harden as a bad teammate with other MVP candidates in the same way?
I think when he played with other MVP candidates, he was not the number one option when he played with Kevin Durant. I mean, Kevin Durant was the number one option. When he came to the Nets, Kevin Durant was the number one option. I think when he played with Russell Westbrook, it was his team. It's totally different. This is Joel Embiid's team. James Harden is very talented, but let's make no mistake, at this point in his career, Joel Embiid is 1A and 1B. James Harden is a guy he has to be Robin right now, and he would be a very good Robin. I just look at it right now is how they're going to play together with each other, and do they have enough time to gain this chemistry when you have this basketball chemistry on the floor?
We talk a lot about the 76ers and the Nets throughout the season, but a team quietly ahead of them in the standings for most of the season so far. The Miami Heat, look at their next 6 games, and you start to go, okay, Chicago, Milwaukee, Brooklyn, Philly, whoa. That's the litmus test. When you ask contenders, pretenders, what is this team going to be? They were in the finals in the bubble and then not good the next season. So Stan Van, those 4 games in particular in the middle there, what is that going to tell us about Miami and what we think of them as contenders?
Well, those are at the worst going to be very competitive games. So I don't think we'll learn anything negative about them. I think this is sort of a strange team in a good way in that they might be the physically toughest team in the league when they're whole. PJ Tucker, Bam Adebayo, Jimmy Butler, Kyle Lowry, and yet they can really, really shoot the ball on the perimeter. They've done an incredible job developing depth. Vincent, Martin, Max Strus, Yurtseven, all those guys have played well. This has not been a team where it's been smooth sailing this year. They've had a lot of guys out with injury, and they just